Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining us. We have a few things to talk to you about today, and I just want to remind you about the comment section. There is a time delay, so if you have any questions, please type them into the comment box and we'll try to answer them for you. So I want to get started. I just want to say that the first week that we had the visitation booths up and running, we realized that it was too noisy in the courtyards. So we moved them to the middle courtyard, which seems to be working out really well. The only unfortunate thing is that ever since this started, the weather has been too hot for the residents to go out. So hopefully that will break and there will be more opportunity for you to come and visit your loved one. There has been no word from the ministry in terms of anything changing. So we'll just continue as is until something comes up, and then we'll let you know. The staff are continuing to be tested every 2 weeks. We'll be testing them again on Monday and Tuesday, and obviously we've been doing it for a month now. And the good news is nobody's has tested positive. If a staff member comes to work with symptoms, they are sent to a testing center, and they too have all come back negative. So we're happy about that. I wanted to let you know that we've hired our 4 summer students that we got funding for through Canada Summer Jobs. Some of them have already started working with us, and they'll be working throughout the summer. Someone dropped off an article for us from the Star, and I just wanted to address it because obviously the headline, I don't know if you can see it, that is very catching. It says tests not needed for long-term care visits. The article then goes on to explain that you have to have a test and you have to attest that you are negative, but you don't need to bring in proof. So I guess the idea of the article is to catch your eye with that, but it is the way we have explained it, which is that you need to still go get tested every 2 weeks and then sign a paper for us saying that your test has come back negative. So I just wanted to address that in case people had seen that and thought things had changed. They haven't. The other thing I want to talk to you about today is something that's been going on in the media in terms of this heat wave and the fact that there's a lot of homes where there's no air conditioning, and it's very difficult for seniors that might be isolating in their room and no air conditioning and no movement of air. So I did talk about this a little bit at our last meeting, but I'm just going to sort of expand upon that. So I wanted to explain to you the difference between our home and some of the homes that you might see on the news and the media around outbreaks and the air conditioning. We're classified as an A facility, which means that, you start at A and you go down from there. So in 2006, when we built this home, we were using the new design standards. And then we also exceeded those standards because basically the standards are the minimum. And so we exceeded the standards in terms of the hallway width, lighting, room sizes, spas, dining rooms, etc. And as I mentioned at our last meeting, we have air conditioning throughout the buildings. However, the resident rooms are not air conditioned. They're conditioned to air, which means we have a system that's taking the air out of the building, and then it brings in air through an exchange, cools it, and brings it into the rooms. We monitor the air temperatures and the humidity and the humidex daily, ensuring that if an area is getting too warm, that we're moving residents to a cooling area. So I mentioned that we were an A facility. So there are A, B, C, and D facilities. A D facility, and a lot of these homes that are having problems are a D facility. So when you're classified as a D facility, you are required to rebuild. However, that hasn't been happening. So these homes have been a D home for a long period of time. Operators either can't find land or they can't afford to rebuild. And the Ministry of Long-Term Care has allowed them to continue to operate despite the fact that the building is very old. And so those are the homes where you have the ward beds with 4, 5, even 6 people per room. Now, the ministry has been contacting those homes and other homes where they have a ward. So say you have 4 to a room, they're only allowing 2 per room. That's not an issue in our home because we have our private rooms, and then our basic rooms are basically you're sharing a bathroom, but you have your own room. So it isn't a concern for us. So I just wanted to put your mind at rest that, you know, the residents aren't suffering from heat overheating or heat exhaustion. They actually like their rooms to be warm. They like to wear their sweaters. They like to put the little blanket over them. And of course, the staff are constantly monitoring them. Each resident in May has a heat assessment done, so the nurses know it has to do with medication interactions and that kind of thing. So just wanted to put your mind at ease on that. So really, that's all I have. We have nothing new that's happening. Yeah, so I'm happy to answer any questions you might have. I think that probably, unless, again, something important or comes up, we won't have another one of these until August. So if you have any questions, please put them in the chat box. I'm happy to answer your questions. If you didn't understand what I've tried to explain, because I'm not sure that I was able to clearly explain everything, please let me know. Amy is continuing to take bookings for the visitation booths. Of course, they're not being used very much, again, because of the heat. Oftentimes we try to get the visits in before 10 in the morning, but we also have to remember that the residents have to get up, eat their breakfast, so we can't start them too early either. So, Derek, are there any questions?
None yet.
No? Oh, okay.
So it looks like we are having internet issues. And it looks like they're saying the chat room is unavailable at this time, so I don't know what to do about that.
Okay. Well, if you can't put your question in the chat box, you have my email address. Please send me your question. And if there are, you know, a bunch of questions, I'll answer them all, and then I'll send out an email blast to everybody that's in the...
Okay, it just came back.
Oh, okay.
Sheila Driscoll is asking, thank you for allowing virtual visits while outside visits are not possible.
Yeah, so we still will continue, even when outside visits are happening, we'll still continue to allow the virtual visits and, of course, the window visits. I know with the window visits, we put some tents up at the windows, but some of the families are finding it too hot for themselves to come. So, yeah, we have no control over the weather, but we will offer a variety of visit methods because there's some people living out of town, they can't get in and they need to do it virtually too. So.
And Heather Phillips would like to say hello to everybody.
Hi, Heather. We miss you. And the family council.
So it looks like we're about 45 seconds behind. And I have another question. Another comment from Sandy says, I'd like to commend Amy for the excellent job she is doing organizing the window and outside visits. Yep. Thank you very much. That's from Sandy. And Judy would like to say, my chat seems to be working. There are no questions at this time, but thank you for everything you're doing. Yeah, we, for some reason, the chat is working. It's working now.
Good, good. Again, please, if you have any concerns or any questions, obviously if it's about the health of your loved one, talk to the nurse. If it's some other issues, I'm happy to respond to your emails.
Question is there any concern about residents getting personal belongings that they need, such as additional clothing, etc.?
No, so what you need to do is you can bring the clothing in, put it in a bag, label it with your loved one's name. It will sit there for probably 2 days. It will be sanitized, brought in, and on the third day it will be delivered and to your family member, and it will go to laundry to be labeled prior to that. So that's not a problem. Whatever you feel your loved one needs, you can bring it in. The only thing we ask you not to bring in is baked goods or anything that is pre-packaged for the loved one. You can bring in. And I just want to mention that there's a gentleman that came up to the door the other day, and we were chatting, and he was saying his mother-in-law would love a strawberry milkshake. Could he bring one in? And I said, no, but we'd be more than happy to make her a strawberry milkshake. So he was happy with that. And then as he walked away, I forgot to ask him who his mother-in-law was. So if you're listening and your mother-in-law wants strawberry milkshake, can you let me know who it is? I feel so bad. So
Jillian Forsyth is asking, it's hard to gauge what the residents' needs are about bringing stuff in.
well, certainly if we see a need and we can meet that need, we will. If we feel we can't, we will reach out to you and let you know that whatever your family member may need. So hopefully we're actually meeting the needs right now.
So for example, Jillian is saying whether it could be socks, underwear, or summer weight clothing.
So yeah, so the staff would let us know if that was needed, and then we would pass that on to the families. But I will just talk to the nurses and ask them to ask the PSWs to check to make sure that people have the appropriate clothing for this particular season. So we can put an ask out there and just make sure that everybody has what they need. And sorry, Amy's saying that she does that
So I'll sign and speak at the same time. Sorry. I contact the nurses every Wednesday and then ask them if any of the residents need anything. So they would contact the PSWs. So it has been an ongoing thing, and I have been going shopping Wednesdays when I can.
And there's a thank you for answering the question.
And if we can't get it, then we would reach out to you. That's it?
That seems to be about it for now. That's all I'm getting.
Well, I hope you can all stay cool and stay safe. And we look forward to the day when we can see your faces. And I know your loved ones do too. But we'll continue to try our best to facilitate visitations for you. And we'll certainly do our best at taking care of the residents. So if that's all, I guess we will probably do this again in the middle of August unless we need to do it sooner. Okay? So thank you all for chiming in, and have a great day.